Jason Fitz with Yahoo Sports, hanging out with, I don't know, 3-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, World Series champion, never gets old saying all of that. Alex Rodriguez, my friend, let's start with a little baseball. Got a lot we're going to cover with you, but you know the Yankees better than anybody, right? And Yankees-Dodgers over the weekend had everybody mesmerized. What is it about Aaron Judge versus Shohei that seems to captivate everybody so much?
Well, I mean, I grew up in an era where I fell in love with basketball with Magic versus Bird, and this is the best version of it. 40 years later, whatever it is. These are the two best players. One is probably the biggest global star in the world, or definitely in the top three of any sport. In Shohei Ohtani, what he's done to the Dodger business model has just been incredibly hard to even articulate. They're doing NFL numbers or better than NFL numbers, and they're in MLB baseball. So he's obviously speaks for itself. And then Aaron Judge is one of the biggest domestic stars we have in sports. I mean, these guys transcend the sport of baseball. They're both incredible human beings, and they have something in common, which is kind of cool, especially in 2025. They're the biggest stars of sport, but we know very, very little about each one of them, which there is a mystery about them, which is kind of rare in this social media world.
All right. Well, you've played. You're about to be an owner. I'm going to let you tap dance for a little bit. If I made you the owner of a Major League Baseball team and you had to pick which one of these two stars you wanted to have on your franchise, you go and get one. Which one you going with?
Oh, I can't pick one of those. I'll tell you what, Jay, I'll let you pick and I'll get whoever you don't want. And we're both winners.
You know what? That's why you are where you are, my friend. The ability to dance around. I knew you were going to dance around it, but I had to at least ask the question. Let's talk a little bit about ownership, because you're obviously about to become part of the ownership for Minnesota, for the NBA and for the WNBA. And Minnesota, the Timberwolves, just had this incredible run. What was it like for you, knowing what you're about to take on, but just watching that run through the playoffs?
It was so much fun, Jason. I mean, look, we've made the Final Four the last 2 years, and I played for in the major leagues for almost 25 years, and I know how difficult and challenging it is to get to the promised land. And it takes so much more than just talent, right? It takes great coaching, great vision, execution. You got to stay healthy, and you got to be playing at a high level. So it was so much fun. But the core of our team is still kind of, on average 23, 24 years old. Anthony Edwards is 23, and we have a great coach. We have a great head of basketball, Tim Conley, and I think it was a great year, but we're really looking forward to the future.
You've sat on the player's side. Now you're about to sit on the owner's side. As you get ready for that, who have you sort of leaned on for advice to try and figure out what type of ownership group you want to be part of?
Well, I've been fortunate, Jason, because we've been part of the ownership group for now 4 years, and now we're going to take full control and majority of the team and coming up in the next hopefully few weeks. Um, as a player, I've always come from the prism of what's best for the players, and I'm always thinking about the players and their experience, and even little things like which are not so little, family room, and how important that is, because my daughters were raised in a family room, or how important it is to take care of our fans and try to be first class and make sure that they're the most important folks, because without fans we don't have a league, we don't have a sport. And then taking care of our partners, our sponsors, and obviously treating the players and our organization first class. So I've been very fortunate to learn under George Steinbrenner, who's one of the greatest owners of all time, and hopefully I can take some of that and apply it to being a governor.
You'll also be applying it to work with the Lynx, who are expected to have an absolutely great W season. The W more popular than ever, but coming up on the possibility of some CBA issues. How different do you approach it from an ownership standpoint? You'll be sitting on the other side of the table almost immediately in that position.
Yeah, I think it's a great position to be in. I mean, look, women's sports is, people will say it was a moment. It's truly a movement, and it's not going anywhere. And the numbers back it up 100%. And I'm sure that both the league and the players are going to come to a good solution, and I'm very optimistic about the future.
Do players sort of have a different relationship with you in this standpoint, because not every owner knows what it's like to be a player every day?
Well, I think we see a lot of us in each other, right? I come from humble beginnings. I started my career as an 18-year-old for the Seattle Mariners. I'm a man of color, and I've had a lot of ups and downs. So I think in many ways, I hope that I'm relatable. I hope they can learn from some of my mistakes and lean on some of my experience of some of the things that I did well, including being a world champion.
You are a world champion. You've been a world champion. And as you've mentioned, it takes so much to get there. What should the expectations? I know everybody says they're competing for championships every year, but there's so many variables involved with that. How do you judge success from an ownership standpoint?
I think it's more than winning. Obviously, winning's at the top North Star of every organization, but for us was different metrics, right? Like what are core values? What do we want to represent? What do we want to represent in the community? Um, as far as, we want to be great fiduciaries. We want to be great to our fans, to our partners, to our players, but create a culture that you have a very respected organization and you're put in a position long term to be able to strike year in and year out. It's not just about 1 year, but how many opportunities do you get to strike? And the more you put yourself in that position, the better your chances get.
Isn't it fair, though, when you're a player, you're worried about yourself and your team? Those are your main focuses, right? When you're an owner, you're worried about, or a governor, you're worried about the growth of the sport overall. Does that change a little bit of your approach when you have to come into the room to figure out what's right for the entire league, not just yourself or your team?
Yeah, I mean, the NBA is fantastic. And you get a chance. I mean, basically, the players are 50-50 partners with us. We're looking to, grow revenues, grow the league, make sure that it's done in a sustainable fashion. And we have incredible leadership with Adam Silver at the top. And look, you have 30 partners, right? We're all 30 partners. We all want the best for each other on the business side. We all share best practices. And then when you go on the court, the hardwood, you're trying to, beat each other up. But it's a great dynamic. It's a great league. And I think the NBA is just in the early days of their growth.
We also have a championship series in the NBA that's going to give us Indiana and Oklahoma City, right? Two smaller markets compared. And that's not necessarily the case in baseball, where we see oftentimes markets left behind. What does Major League Baseball need to learn from other sports to figure out how to have better parity across the board, in your opinion?
Well, I trust that Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, he's a great leader. And look, I think every league, Jason, can learn from each other. I mean, NFL sits in the top of the mountain as the league that everyone envies. Again, another great leader, Roger Goodell. But I think what NFL and NBA has done really well is they think about entertainment first, and they just happen to play football and basketball. I think baseball has to kind of continue to be aggressive. I think the clock has been a great move. They changed the bases. They're being more progressive, and they're trying to attack some of these challenges. So entertainment first, and then baseball.
Couldn't you argue that refs have an almost impossible job? Like when they get 90% of the calls right, 98% of the calls right, and all they get is trash for what is perceived to be bad calls, or slowed down to a spot where they could never actually do it in real time. Like a ref is the most unenviable job in sports, right?
They do such a great job, Jason. I agree with you 100%. And they're some of the best guys. I've always had an incredible relationship with umpires, and I knew, being almost 25 years in the big leagues, Jason, if you're an umpire, I would know, if you have kids, if you like fishing, if you like hunting. And next time I see you at third base, I'm like, hey, Jace, how's the hunting? Or like we're ragging each other. And you build a real bond with these great people. That's why I hate any conversation about robots and taking jobs away from humans. I mean, the game would not be the same without refs and umpires, the human element. And I'm so proud to partner with Lysol to highlight and celebrate these men and women.
Well, we appreciate your time, your energy. Best of luck with Lysol. Can't wait to see the campaign. And of course, can't wait to continue to watch you thrive. Thanks for hanging out with us, my friend.
Thank you, Jason.